Okay, here we go. Now I'm ready to hopefully get this started. So here we go. So I have this dream of making a whole bunch of stuff out of recycled plastics, and um, today uh, a step in that process is going to be making a starter paper shredder, or sorry, plastic shredder out of a paper shredder, and hopefully this will be a simple process, and hopefully I'll get my stream set up, dialed in, and we'll see how it goes. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a little bit of a bullet list of what we're gonna be doing in the build, and yeah, we'll see how it looks. Do I want this? Let me get, let me get this back over to the side there. That's good. Okay, so what do we call this? Let's call this building or hacking uh, plastic shredder. Probably wanna bring the size down here. Oh, that's tiny. Hacking a plastic shredder. Okay. Hacking a paper shredder to be a plastic shredder. All right, cool. So our first step is I don't know, intro. That's what we're doing right now. We're talking about the project. In a few minutes, I'm going to go out in the shop and show you some stuff. So as part of the intro, we will walk through the... This doesn't fit over on the side the way I want it to, does it? Walk through shop. I don't know, shop overview or process overview. Yeah, man, this is an exciting live stream, isn't it? Okay, process overview, and after that, we'll pull apart. Man, I don't have a lot of room on the side. Pull apart the shredder. Yeah, that'll work. We'll do that for now. So as I go through this, I'm probably gonna mark off the things that are done, and yeah, here we go. Let's walk out into the shop. I've actually got to, well, I guess I'm gonna walk away for a second and get the camera out in the shop running, get my microphone out there hooked up, so I'll be right back. All right. Well, I am now going to be heading out into the shop to get this running, and I think I've got the microphone working, so I'm going to switch mics here in a second. All right. Ooh, we got a viewer. Average watch time for this stream so far is 5 seconds, and that's my PR so far. So we'll see where it goes from here. Let me switch back to a different camera here, and make sure the shop camera's working. There we go. All right, and let me make sure I've still got OBS available. Switch mics. Okay, now I'm on the portable mic. Hopefully that's gonna work. So let's go out into the shop and do some stuff. Okay, so I think that we're good. Let me actually flip this out so I can make sure I'm framing the shot right. Yeah. Wow, almost like I know what I'm doing here. Let me get rid of some of this background noise. There we go. So, here we are. So this is an injection molding machine, a very small injection molding machine, and we can make little parts with it. We can make medium-sized parts maybe. So here's an example of some pretty small parts. This is well, let me get a better one where you can actually see it. This is the focus. So this is my little Skill Hoarder logo. People ask me what this logo is about. This logo is, well, it actually was inspired by the recycling symbol many years ago. I started doing a lot of woodworking using reclaimed products, and this thing is gonna be whining at me the whole time. So yeah, many years ago I started up woodworking business using reclaimed wood, and dreamed up this little logo that's based on the recycling symbol. And yeah, it's come to have more meanings to me over the years as well. It's not just a recycling symbol. It also kind of symbolizes how every time you make some advancement or learn a new skill or have some new capacity, that feeds into something else. And so that's what it means to me. And these are just some sample parts that I'm using for this machine as I'm getting it dialed in and getting the process set up. So I'm going to shoot a part here and show you what that process looks like. So essentially, when you're injection molding, you've got raw material. I'll show you a couple different materials here. So this is some recycled plastic that I've cut up into little maybe chocolate chip sized chunks here. And this is what if we can get a focus. So this is what pellets generally look like for virgin plastic. They're these tiny little grains, roughly the size of a grain of rice. And yeah, this is what we want. This is the consistency that works best with these machines for feeding into it. And when you're dealing with recycled plastic, you have to take things that are you know, in the form of, I don't know, whatever the thing is, a milk jug or whatever, and you have to try to get it into these little pellets or granules or small chunks. But once you do, most machines are gonna have some type of hopper where you put the material in. This machine, currently I manually activate it. It's going to, it's actually got a barrel in there that heats this up. I hit the lever on here and it drives a ram down through the heated barrel of plastic, and then the material comes out into the mold. So let's do that. Give that a few seconds to cool. This is such a small part, it cools very quickly. And let's open it up and see what we get. There it is. So this is polypropylene. It comes out somewhat clear. It's a pretty clear plastic. And then our mold is just a split mold with the gate on the parting line for this type of machine. There's many different types of machines for injection molding. This one uses molds kind of like this. We will in the future make more complex molds for these and automate the process more. I can replace this clamp here with an automated system that opens and closes and ejects the parts and closes back up and is ready for a new one. And I can replace this lever on the side with a solenoid so that can all be driven by code. So that's a whole separate project, but there, injection molding. Let's go into the other room here and look at the shredder project. And see if I can get a good angle on this. Oh, of course I've got to set up the camera proper. Zoom out to here-ish. That should be good. All right, let's see what we can do on camera here. What's going to work good? Hopefully we can get a good view. Okay, so here's our shredder. This is your Amazon Basics 24 sheet shredder. There's a lot of shredders that'll probably work. I went with the highest sheet count I could because it's going to have hopefully a tougher motor and tougher blades in it. And opening this up, I'm actually pretty happy with the size of the blades in there. And what I've done is I've run a few yogurt containers through this already. And it doesn't pelletize it. It shreds it. These are definitely shredded yogurt containers. And they're polypropylene, which is easy to reuse, easy to melt down and injection mold. But yeah, we need them into pellets. So what we have to do is we have to actually feed this through the paper shredder multiple times in order to get it down to the size that we need. So we're gonna have to do some modifications to the shredder because you know, there's some nice safety mechanisms they built into this, such as a very thin slit that is built to only accept paper, and you know, it's got safety features like it's not going to run unless this bin is in place. There's a little switch up there. We can actuate that switch so that we can get it to run without that bin in there. But the main thing is I want to be able to feed material into this, and so I'm going to take this this top end of this guy apart so that we can do that. Essentially, I'm just going to be cutting a big hole in the top of this, and then build some type of like hopper that we can then feed more material into. This is cutting off my face, isn't it? It doesn't sound right, cutting off my face. See if we can improve the camera angle here. Yeah, there we go. One of these days, I'll know what I'm doing. So the whole top end of this comes off with a couple screws, it looks like. So let's get that off of there. So I'm in the midst of doing a video series about kind of the realities of recycling, how much it's needed, how much is not being recycled, and what we can do about that. Because I think that there is a lot that we can do. There is a project called Precious Plastics. A guy named Dave Hawkins or Hakins, I'm not sure. He's European, so I don't know even what country, but I'm sure I've butchered the pronunciation already. Started this project a few years ago, and the concept is that we should be treating plastic like a precious commodity, a very valuable commodity. The plastic is kind of a miracle material. Never before in the history of humanity have we had something that can perform so many things. It can be used in so many ways as plastic. Really, without plastic, our society could not function as it is. And many would argue that our society should not function as it is. Either way, the miracle properties of plastic, of it essentially just never breaking down, never decomposing, or at least taking thousands of years to, is leading to all kinds of problems like angry turtles and dead dolphins and things like that. Let me see if I can get a better shot inside here for you. Can we get the camera to see right down inside of this? Let's see if I can. There we go. Put this like that. Change this. There you go. Now you can actually see what I'm doing instead of staring at my ugly mug. Well, I guess that was fun. You missed all the fun of taking out 8 screws. All right, so if we look inside here, we can see that there are some nice blades in there, some good solid, might be 1/4 inch steel blades in there. Let's actually let's see if we can get an even better angle. We'll move it a little closer to the camera. There we go. All right, so we've got these nice blades in there. So we're looking at the bottom side of the blades, and that's that may be 1/4 inch thick, just under 1/4 inch. Maybe it's 5 millimeter, and a ton of them. And they move at a nice slow pace. I can put this in auto mode. Let's actually turn it on. If I turn this on and put it in, manual mode to just move forward manual, I probably have to plug it in as well. That may help. All right, so we can see that it's got a warning light on that the door is open. So it's not going to do anything until we trick it into believing that the door is closed, which we can do with this little switch right here. If I can get something down in there. So let's do that. There we go. So now we can see that pretty shredding action. Isn't that just hypnotizing to look at? So we can see the pretty hypnotizing shredding action in there. It's like, yeah, it's like hypnotizing you to want to stick your hands in there or something. I should not say these things in public. So, yeah, there's our blades. We got teeth on them. I should not stick my hands in here, but I know that at least the switch is not activated. So what we need to do now is figure out how to get the rest of this case apart, and I think it's these screws down here will actually get the top cover off. So let me unplug this and see if I got a screwdriver long enough to reach down in these holes here. Yeah, we got this. And my air compressor just turned on. I'm gonna let that run. That is gonna be annoying, but I'm just gonna let it run. Actually, maybe I'll run into the other room for a minute. We can, now that we've got this apart, we can do this on the other bench. So let's switch cameras. All right, so here we go. Switch cameras to the side bench here. Hey, here we are. Now we might be able to make something happen. Let's get this in view. That works nice. All right, so I'm gonna pull these screws out here. And unfortunately, I don't remember what I was saying before the compressor went off, but my hope is we get these screws out and, oh, let me get this out of the way. All right, my hope is we get these screws out and we can just have access to the top of the shredder. And perhaps it'll be as simple as just taking the top cover of this over to the bandsaw and removing the top cover, or removing the guard area of the top cover. But let's see if this is doing what we want here. There's one of the screws. How many are there? Oh, I think there's one more in the front center. Yeah, I think that these screws are gonna give us what we need. Oh, I broke the seal. They're not going to let me warranty this now. If that is a warranty seal, that's a weird place to put it, because that is right where it can easily get rubbed off or peeled off on the front of the machine there. That's not actually guarded by anything. Alright. Is that going to let us open this? Almost. Look at that. I think I got another screw here somewhere that I haven't fully loosened. Oh, and there's one in the back that I missed as well. Ooh, my average watch time is up to 19 seconds now. Khan said hello, and I missed it. Hi, Khan. Alright, so I just said hi to Khan in the chat. Hopefully they will appreciate that somehow. Alright. Let's see if we can get... Oh yeah. Now we're talking. I'm gonna give you guys a better view here. Or maybe it's not a better view. There we go. Well, there's some kind of view. I guess not a good view, but oh, they had to do it this way. Okay, so forget that better view. I'm gonna go back to this camera. So essentially, what we've got here, you know what? What we've got here is the need to go to the backbench camera. Let's get some of these things out of the way. Just mostly out of the way will suffice. It's got a bit of a better angle, I think. Okay. So in order to hack the top cover of this, I have to you know what? I think everything pretty much goes to the control board and the sensor. So if I take this control board off, then I'll be able to access the blades just fine. And then I've just got this sensor here. Alright, so yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll remove this control board and then run it for a while, just without this board on it. If I can. There we go. Actually get it down. Nice. Okay. So now I guess I could run some tests with it and see what I can throw in here to shred. Man, these are some nice blades. It might be easier. So I want to build a higher powered shredder. And actually, this is a good beefy motor on here too. I'm pretty impressed. This thing might be able to do a lot more than I was thinking that it would do. I am working on building a big shredder that can take real thick plastic, but I'm going to do some tests here with this and see what it'll accomplish for us. Because yeah, this is looking pretty nice. Okay, so how do I want to go about this? Am I gonna we've got these 3 screw holes back here. I could just completely cut off the front side of this and throw it back together so that I've still got the control panel right behind the blades, and then I can just cut out some plywood or some kind of material as a hopper for this. Yeah, I think we're just gonna completely cut off the front side of this cover. do that. Pull this board off, pull the sensors off. Nice that I've got on video what positions these screws need to go back in. I've got these button heads in these three positions, and then this this big kind of washery screw in that position. So this board is now ready to come out, and then our sensors, which we're just going to completely override. Will come out. And essentially, as long as these two sensors aren't pointed at each other, I think the thing will run. It is an IR sensor that's interesting. When I was testing with this, I had one yogurt container that would trip the sensor and another one that wouldn't. And so one of them must be IR translucent, one of the yogurt containers. But there we go. There's our cover. We'll bring this over to the bandsaw and see what we can do to make this accessible. I think I'm going to be cutting right along here. Might as well just get these rest of these screws out of here so I can save my bandsaw blade. I guess just that one is good enough. So when I go to put this cover back on, I can still screw it down with this, this, and this. And our control board will mount back here on these four. And this little hole down here is not going to do anything for us. So let's bring it out to the shop and cut it up. All right, so I'm back on the wireless mic, and I'm going to walk out into the shop here, get onto that camera, and let me set up so that we can see the bandsaw here. You know what? I'm just going to move this whole cart over a bit. Like that. Get the bandsaw in the shot. What do you think? Is that a good shot? It's pretty dang blurry. Plug this in. How's that? Is that artistic or what? And whenever I'm bandsawing plastic, you get all these little tiny snowflakes of plastic around. It's pretty annoying. Look at that stuff. Well, if the camera would focus, you'd see that I'm kind of covered in it just from even one quick cut like that. So in the past, I have, let me fix this. So yeah, in the past, I have used the bandsaw to cut plastic down for making parts, for pelletizing it essentially. And yeah, that's a pain in the butt because it just covers everything over here with this fine plastic soot. Actually, let me see. You can see some. There we go. So we get this plastic snow. Are you focusing? There it is. So we get this plastic snow all over everything. And it's one reason why it's going to be nice to have a shredder. And now you may be thinking, what a waste. Look at all this just cut off of the thing. Not a waste at all, because the goal is that we'll be able to just grind this up and injection mold it into other stuff. So yeah, definitely no waste at all with this piece of plastic there. And now that we've done that, I think we can go put this back on the device over there in the other room. Let me just walk over there and get this going here. Okay, so let's get before I throw this all back together, you know, first I'm gonna just mount this onto the cover again. There. Got our main board here, more or less. What are we doing? Get the LEDs lined up with the light poles, light tubes. Once we've got this put back together loosely, we'll just test it real quick here on the bench and make sure we can turn it on and off. And if all looks good, then we'll run into the other room and see if we can shred bigger stuff. Not sure why, but they had this larger, the screw with the larger head in this position. Who designed it? Why'd they do that? Maybe whoever assembled it just ran out of the other screws and threw this fat one in instead. Okay, so there's that. Control board is back in place. Oh, I did not line up the switch cover here with the actual switch on the board. So, and maybe that's why. That might have, that switch there might have something to do with why. Maybe they wanted more contact area from the screw head where there's going to be more force applied on the switch. That would be cool if that's why they did that. Alright, so can we get this aligned? Where is it? All the way over. Okay. Now that switch will actually work, which will be key to the function of the device. For anybody just tuning in, what we've done so far is I did a walkthrough of the injection molding process, what the material needs to look like. We took the paper shredder apart, we figured out where the sensors are, how we're going to kind of bypass the sensors, and then we cut the cover up so that we can position. Then we cut the cover up so that we can get better access to the shredder blades so that we can put bigger stuff through there and then refeed stuff through there rather than try to feed it through the narrow slit that that paper is intended to go through on this. So now I think we can plug it in and give it a test. There is, hopefully it's still functioning, there is a safety on this so that even as I've got it plugged in, there's a door switch. I don't know if the red light shows through on the video. Yeah, just barely. So it's not going to do anything until the door switch is closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and manually trip the door switch, so the bin switch, which is on the other side. Let's see if I can flip this without hurting anything. So that like that, and if I trip this switch right here, we should see it turn. And let's just make sure that none of those sensors are actually in the way or where the blades can get to them. And there we go. So it still works. You can't see me tripping the switch over here, can you? Let's just push everything out of the way on the desk here. So here's our bin switch. So there's like a drawer that sits under this for all the shreddings. Is there a word for that? For paper shreddings? Shreds, I guess. Shreds is the word. And when that bin is inserted, the door is closed, the switch is depressed, and there's a little time delay. I have to hold it down for a few seconds before this will start to turn. Okay, there we go. Now we've got nice, clear access to the shredder blades, and the thing will turn on when we want it to turn on. So I'm going to screw this cover on with the 3 screws that are left in. it, and then we can walk out into the shop and try to shred some larger plastic with this. Fun. Screw. Hopefully it's aligned well enough that the screw will bite. Feels like it is. Is it? Yeah, it is. Good. And going back on the back corner here. And one more on this corner. All right, we're ready to throw it together and see what it will shred. Let me update our info here. So what have we done so far? We've done that. We pulled apart the shredder. We've all right, so now it's time to shred stuff. How do I do an exclamation point? There we go. Cool. Let's go out in the shop and shred some stuff. Let me get this. Isn't that fun? Multiple images of me on a computer streaming to no one. Okay, switch to the other camera. Let's switch back to that other mic. All right, and in a second, we will be ready to shred. Let me just grab this. Got to get the right angle. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Okay. We've got to actually screw. We don't have to, but I want to actually screw this back onto the base. One thing I really like about this particular unit is that I can continue using this bin for the shreddings. I feel like there's got to be a better word than shreds. So get this in there. Can you see what I'm doing? Here we go. Now you get to see all the excitement. The excitement of trying to line up a bunch of little plastic pieces and screw holes. Okay, there we go. So let me get one in here to hold everything in place. Come on. Where's my magnetic stuff? Okay, one down, 7 to go. For all the reasons to hate Amazon, I do find myself impressed with stuff like this, the Amazon Basics stuff. You know that it works. I'm looking at it, I think it's designed well. These brackets, they've got 3 screw bosses into the overall housing here, spreading that load nicely, because this top of this thing is freaking heavy. If you knock this over, you know, the top of this is like 20 pounds and it's just on this thin plastic housing. If they only had 1, maybe even 2 screw bosses on there, I think it would snap. But they got 3 screw bosses and supports around the bracket, kind of locking the bracket in place. It's just stout. It's built well. Now, these little feet, on the other hand, are kind of crappy, but I don't blame Amazon for that. I haven't ever seen really good feet, and Amazon, I'm sure, does not want to get into the market of making casters. It would be cool if there were, you know, a good alternative to this that, you know, was important enough to people that they can make them in quantities that they can get the price down. But I don't know what else to say about that. Just trying to find things to talk about while screwing in these screws here. Okay, 1 to go. And of course the compressor goes off again. I'm gonna go do something about that. Okay, I think we are think we're about ready to shred some stuff. How do I want to do this? I'll probably bring this down on the floor. Yeah, let's do that. All right, it's getting exciting now, isn't it? We just need to get power over here. Got some sample plastic here to play with. Clean up my space a little bit. All right. Now, it shouldn't do anything until we close this bin. Give it a few seconds. Cool. I am going to, for now, I guess I'll just tuck this out of the way. There's no moving parts down this way, so it should be fine enough. I could have routed that differently when I put everything together up top, but I think we'll be fine. All right. So then we got the reverse mode. And we got forward again. And then all the way off. So that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reshred these yogurt containers that I shredded before off camera for whatever reason. And I'm going to grab a bucket, just throw these in between. Okay, and of course now I just got to be very careful that I don't shred my hand. Probably want a little bit different angle on this, don't we? All right, so obviously this is not the way to go about this. The thing I should be doing is building a hopper that I can just drop stuff into, and it gets directed down towards these blades. But for a quick test, seeing how the reshredding works, this is what we're doing. I'm going to leave some of this here to compare it to the double shredded material. So, oh my gosh, that's almost like 100% right there. There's still some long bits, but most of that I could throw right into the injection molding machine as is. So, yeah, that's I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's get as much of that out of there as possible. All right, so wow, yeah, I'm pretty thrilled about that. So here is Material shredded once versus shredded twice. There we go. So shredded once, it's mostly long strands that would not do well in our mold or in our molding machine. Shredded twice, it is mostly these little flakes, which this would probably work great in the machine almost as is. And if I feel that if I get the hopper set up, or if I just shred these 3 times, it'll probably be totally fine. If I get the hopper set up, or if I have like a little sifter, or even something that encourages the material to kind of like refeed as this is turning, then this will work perfectly for, at least for thin material like a yogurt container. Yeah, at least for this thin yogurt container stuff. Now I want to see if it'll do thicker stuff. I've got some applesauce jar lids here, which I believe are HDPE. They might be polypropylene. Generally lids like this are HDPE. And they're quite a bit thicker. They're more rigid. I'm going to see what this shredder is going to do to them. So let's get it into the shot here and shred. Well, that was a success. I think that these are actually polypropylene as well. The way that second one cracked as it fed through, generally HDPE will just kind of like bend and deform. Polypropylene will crack. And we've got almost, after one go, they're almost the consistency that we want. So this is going to work. This is going to work. Let's see what other material we can try out. We've got a bunch of stuff in the other room here. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got some HDPE. This is pretty thick. This is 3-4 millimeters thick. These are actually industrial rejects. These are rejects from an injection molding company. Injection molding companies just have to send literally tons of plastic. A lot of it just goes right to the landfill. Some of it goes to be recycled again. There's very limited uses for recycled material in industry these days. So there's a lot of this stuff available. This is essentially it's not virgin plastic because it's been shot once. It's been melted and formed into a part once, but it never saw any use. And there's a lot of this stuff, so I'm hoping that if not this shredder, the next shredder I build will be able to shred thicker stuff like this with ease, and we'll be able to get some use out of it. So let's see what this will do. This might overload it. Wow. It did not care about that. Wow. I can hear it slowing down and struggling just a touch, but so that was interesting. The whole assembly was shaking, was wobbling, was warping. So I'm definitely at the limit of what this can handle, but not the motor and the teeth. It seems like it's more the housing that these are inside of, and the stability of the shafts that these blades are running on. So so that's pretty cool. I think that if I have material like this, I mean that was a larger part. I could just cut it into smaller strips before feeding it through, and we'll be able to do a lot with that. I was also feeding through the center before, and I think that it's going to make a lot more sense to feed it through right where the drive mechanism attaches. Yeah, the further this way that I feed this parts through, the more warp that it's going to get. So let's see. And it definitely was doing it when I had two pieces. Let's see if one piece will cause the warp all the way out in the end. Yeah. So that was one kind of thinner piece. Here's one thick piece right next to the drive mechanism. So that's good. And if I feed it through right next to the drive mechanism, then there's so much less flexion that can happen. Okay, so when I build my hopper, I think I'm going to have a couple attachments that limit the width. Maybe they'll just be like a divider that I can slide over, that if we're using it to do thicker stuff like this, we're just going to limit it to using this side of the blades. And yeah, if we're doing the thinner stuff like the yogurt containers that is going to need to be reshredded from long strips like that, then we can lay those in the long way. So I think the next step with this is to model and build our hopper. And I've got a few thoughts about how to do that. I do want to close off this edge over here. Let's pull this out. Oh my gosh. First shred, these are like perfect. Wow. I might be able to go a while before building my own shredder with the way that this is looking. So, yeah. I've got a few thoughts about how I'm going to make this hopper. I do want to close off these edges over here, anywhere that the material could kind of fall through without being shredded. So I'm going to take some measurements of this opening here, and then model it up in CAD. I could just do it out of some sheet material that I've got sitting around. But I'm kind of thinking of doing this overkill. I'm kind of thinking of modeling it in 3D printing a kind of a shroud that goes around this and fits it really nicely. And then having some screw bosses in that we can then attach our sheet material to and our sliding divider to. And who knows, maybe we'll even be able to reuse this guy over here. So this doesn't have the geometry that I want, but yeah, maybe after we get a shroud and the hopper mechanism built, we can cut this, modify this so that it can cover all this open area that's around there. I think that'll be nice. I think this is going to be a totally usable project. All right, let me shred a little bit more of this material, just since I've got it out here. And then I'll take the material that's left in there. Very cool. So then I'll take the material that's left in here, separate it out. Maybe we'll even make some parts with this today. You know what? I want to make my logo in colors, so we are going to do that. We're going to use some of this stuff today. All right, this is an interesting piece. Wonder what it'll do with this kind of L-shape chunk. spit it back out. Yeah, that material is perfect. Now, a couple things I got to be really careful about with this material, especially the way I'm just kind of laying it on the table like this, is I want to make sure that I'm not getting either just parts that are too large to go through the machine or parts that are really contaminated in there. So I'm going to be very careful as I pull this off the table, because I could grab something like this off the table and try to run that through the machine. That'll definitely ruin the machine right there. So I'm going to go grab some little cups for the material. And I'm cranking up the temperature on the machine while I'm over here. Okay, so while that machine is coming up to temperature, I will prepare our material. So I want to make sure that I don't get any real big chunks like that in there. So it would be great to have some type of sifter. So I'm gonna probably go on Amazon later and find one of those. Unless somebody can recommend somewhere other than Amazon to order something like that. Some type of home goods store, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond, something like that. And I just want to make sure that we don't have any chunks of metal in here, anything that's going to cause us headaches or downtime. One of the reasons that recycled material doesn't get used as much, a lot of injection molding companies avoid it, is because you can get a lot of downtime. If there's a contaminant in it that can damage your machine, that ends up being very expensive. So make sure we don't have any of that. You know, there's also a high cost in having reject parts, because these businesses are very competitive. Injection molding is, there's so many different injection molding companies that the pricing is competitive, and if anything you can do to increase your productivity really matters on your bottom line. All right, so there's our purple, our yellow. Let's get some of this green. There we go. That's enough to make quite a few parts. Bring these over and then we'll set the camera up over there. Okay, I'm going to take a walk into the other room for a moment, make sure that all is good to go there. Get this pressure dialed in, and I've got to charge up the compressor again. We've got air leaks all over the shop, so this thing comes on every half hour to an hour. It's kind of ridiculous. And I'm going to have to purge the machine and let that come to temperature. So actually, while that's happening, I'm going to, let's see, switch over to this camera and microphone. And we'll just have a chat for a minute. And actually, maybe I'll look at the all right, so let's actually update this first. So shredding stuff is done. Shoot more parts. Okay. Okay, so some next steps with this, and I'm going to take some notes as I'm watching, as I'm talking here. So we've got to model a shroud, and this is not going to be today. I got to head out in about a half hour. So next parts on this project on my next stream, which I don't know when it's going to be yet, but it's going to be to model a shroud for the thing. There's probably a better word for that. And make a hopper to mount to the shroud. Get a sifter. And that's something I can actually do right now while the machine heats up and the compressor charges up again. So let's go to... We are going to use Amazon apparently for this one. Let's say sifter. What size sifter do we want? We don't want one of these cooking sifters. We want something with a lot larger holes. We almost want chicken wire, but chicken wire is going to be too big. Ooh, look at this. Compost sifter. That's almost right. The mesh is still a little bit too big. We might be better off just buying some mesh. Maybe I'll just get some mesh off of McMaster. Let's see what else. Here's a Pro Metal sifter. Metal dirt sifter. Alright, let's look at all these. 9x7 sifting area. If that is 9 inches, then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and a half. We are at, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch. Is 3/8 of an inch going to be good for this? It's 3/8 of an inch. This is promising. It'll be here Tuesday. Let's throw it in the cart and compare to this one. Okay. 1/4 inch mesh screen. Oh, this one actually tells us. So maybe if they're 1/4 inch mesh, then that's probably going to be just perfect for what we want to do. This one doesn't arrive until January. This one doesn't arrive till January. Neither is this one. Okay, so where's that first one? I think that could be a 1/4 inch mesh. Is there a description? Well, for $12, I think it'll make sense. The mesh on this sifter is 1/4 inch. All right. Done. All right. So let's buy it. I'm gonna change cameras so you don't see all my my Amazon stuff while I buy this. Go to the cart. Get one of these and check out. It'll be $13.50. It'll be here Tuesday. Today's Friday. That is service. That type of service puts Jeff Bezos in orbit. Okay. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Amazon is telling me that I made a difference. Really? I can't zoom on this? Where is it? Where is it? You made a difference. Did I just show my address? Where is it? Oh, yep, I just showed my address. Oh well. Alright, let me get out of here. Alright, so we got a sifter. That's done. Next steps of this project are going to be to model the shroud and make a hopper. So that's going to be a project for another day. I got to figure out my stream schedule, I suppose. So yeah, model the shroud, make a hopper to mount to the shroud, and we're going to need the arm, the divider arm on there, and I don't know, maybe trim it up with original cover. Yeah, probably trim it up with the original cover remnant. So that'll be the plan. I'm gonna copy this and paste it into our viewer for next time. Is this all gonna fit? Alrighty, yeah, it works. Oh, did I use the wrong key there? Haha. All right, so right now we're gonna make more parts with the material that we just shredded. Let's go do that. I'm gonna need to switch mics and cameras again. This, and we're gonna go to this camera, and the machine should be up to temperature. Where is my... There we go. Oh. Apparently my volume's bad. Is that what Jackie Oren means? Check this out. Okay, so does that say volume or VOI? Let me copy that and see what it looks like in a different font, because I don't know if I'm reading that right. VOI. What does VOI mean? I'm probably doing something horribly wrong in how I'm streaming. What is VOI? Voice of Indonesia. That's probably not what she meant. The VOI, looking to watch the VOI. No. VOI live stream video on internet. So typo? Is it supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know what you're telling me. Jackie Oren. VOI. FYI. I don't know. Hey guys, look at my stats. We had 7 viewers so far. Average watch time of 14 seconds. Maybe that's because my volume is bad or my VOI is wrong. I don't know. I don't know. So let's go shoot some parts. Maybe there's something I have to do in order to actually get volume in any of this. But anyway, here we go. Where should be good. So the first thing I got to do here is I got to purge the machine. So let me get this clamp out of the way. I'm gonna have to purge out as much of this material as I can, which is wasteful and really sucks. Like look at this material right here. Those are all purges from earlier shots, but when you change out material, that's one of the evils of being able to get the right setup going. So when we talk about plastic that just doesn't get used and ends up in a landfill or, God forbid, killing creatures somewhere, this probably doesn't really contribute to that. You're probably not seeing a lot of purged plastic floating in the ocean. This probably goes to the landfill. Or it gets ground up and reused, hopefully. But it is one of the forms of waste in the process, because you need to get all the material of one type out of the machine before you can run material of another type, and then often you need to use a specific material as a kind of intermediary between the two materials. Say you're going from ABS to PET. You want to flush all the ABS out, but ABS and PET have a different melting point, so you can't just use the PET to flush out the ABS. So often polypropylene, there's other plastics that can be used, but often polypropylene is used because it can get in there and it can clean stuff out so quickly, and it's also pretty tolerant of a wide range of temperatures. So you can use polypropylene to flush out the ABS, and then you put your PET in, and you have to flush out all the polypropylene that's left in the system from flushing out the ABS. So purging uses up a good deal of material, and this is what it looks like. All right, so there's a chunk, a gob of 400 and some degree polypropylene. So that'll burn you good. It'll stick to you too. If I got this on me, I would just get severe burns immediately. The paper is actually insulative enough that I can actually touch the back of this. But if you touch this, it will stick to your skin while burning you, and you'll be unable to easily get it off your skin. It's a whole nightmare. It's a whole mess. Luckily, we will be able to reuse a good deal of this purged material. There's definitely some it's definitely a good bit of it we'll be able to reclaim. But let me try to purge a bit more of this. So we're going to run a bunch of this through, and then I'll throw my colors in. Okay, so when you do a big purge like that on this machine, you've got this the barrel full of heated material ready to be extruded out, and that material is holding on to a lot of heat. And when you pump it out, you then have cool material dropping down into the heated barrel, and that material has to come up to temperature. So unfortunately, you can't see the displays on here. The displays, the frame rate is all wrong, and it'll just look like garbage. But this just dropped about 20 degrees after purging that glob and pushing new material down in. So I'm going to try to get this material where it needs to be. Give that a few minutes. And I think we're going to do green first. So I'm just going to still be very, very careful about putting this material in there. Make sure that I do not have any bits of stone or metal or anything that's going to mess up the process. So there we go. These are 3-ounce cups, so that's 3 ounces of material in the hopper, ready to go. So we're flushing out the polypropylene and then running HDPE behind it. I'm going to do one more purge so that we can get this HDPE down into the barrel and ready to shoot. And it's coming out very, very boogery because the material is not totally melted yet, so still got to wait for it to get to temperature. While we're waiting for that, maybe I will play around. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of a shop tour. So we've essentially got 3 rooms in the main shop here. So over this way, maybe I'll stand behind and talk about what we're looking at. And it's a bit of a mess, but we are heading to look at the CNC shop floor. That was strange. It was very strange. All right, so we've got a couple CNC mills over here. We got this guy over here. We got that guy over there, and we got the Tormach over here. And if you are a nerdy CNC enthusiast like me, you may recognize the logo of Grimsmo Knives. John Grimsmo actually was the first owner of this machine. He kind of used this for the first few years of his business, built his YouTube channel making knives with this machine, and then when he upgraded to I forget the Do Re Mi the Mori, the DMG Mori, he sold this. I was lucky enough to be able to buy it. This was my first real mill. I had a CNC router that I'd built before, but I had a lot of hours learning on this thing, getting it even more old and beat up and worn out, and but it still works great. I actually cut the mold that we're using here on the Tormach, so it's still more than accurate enough to make usable injection molds. We do get more precision with the larger mills. These are also ancient, These are 20-something years old. They're Tree mills. Tree was the brand. It got bought by Arrow, I want to say, which then got bought by something else, and I think is owned by DMG now. But anyways, these models are completely discontinued. Yeah, anyways, they're great. They're good mold making machines actually. And so that is the I guess machine shop side, or the CNC and machining area. There's a little lathe set up over here, and then through the door here is kind of the welding and fabrication area. So we've got materials racks on the wall. We need more materials racks over here where this pile is. We've got the saw bench over here, and welding stuff is back in that corner there. CNC router is here. We've got tools and stuff over in this corner, sink. We've got a robot oven there, which actually I'm going to do another live stream where I do some repairs to our oven there. And then back towards the other side of the shop, we can walk into the lab. Let me put this camera back, and then we'll walk over to the lab. That'll be this way. I'm going to switch cameras when we get there. I don't have a good camera setup to show you the entire lab at the moment, or do I? Actually, that is plugged in. So let me, well, you can see my desk area here. You can take a look at that while I turn on this other camera. And what I've done here is I've essentially just set up so that I can, the goal is to be able to do live streams of any project that I'm working on, and oh yeah, you're done this way. Any project that I'm working on, and be able to have kind of seamless integration from one part of the shop to the next. And as I'm making videos about projects that we're working on, I can record everything from various cameras throughout the shop, all into one computer, and then have my raw footage all in one place. And you know, I've got microphones in various places, so that it's just seamless, and I don't have to. The goal is a low friction video production workflow. So yeah, reducing the friction of actually getting the footage is a big goal I've been working on. So now let's switch over to this camera. There we go. It does work. So on that side of the shop, or on that side of the lab, we've got a bit of a recording area, and there's an overhead camera on this table as well. And if I had been thinking about it, I would have taken apart the lighting is pretty bad back here right now. I would have taken apart the shredder, the paper shredder, on this table right here, because that's the intent here, is that we've got space to do that with a nice overhead view of everything. So that's something for me to remember for next time. And then this camera is on, if I can get this, this camera is on a cart. So you can see there's just a whole big mess over on our electronics assembly bench here. We've got a couple of Prusa, there's a couple Prusa Mark IIIs over here. And then over towards this corner is the resin printing area. As you can kind of see, there's a couple Formlabs there, a couple Elegoo Saturns, and a couple Frozen Minis right there. And then there's my bench area right there. So that's our little mini shop tour for today. And I'm going to switch cameras again and come back this way. So it's probably a good time to go take a look and see if that machine is up to temperature again. So I'm going to switch back to the shop camera. And yeah, we're back up to temperature. So let's purge out a little more of this polypropylene so that we can, until we start to see that our green is coming through, then we'll probably be good to shoot some more parts. And I probably need to get a silicone pad for this, because this is contaminating the material by having that paper in there. So this should work. Wait, do I have a silicone pad? I might have one that we can use for this. One more place to check. Hey. All right, so this is like a soldering assembly pad, but it should work. There we go. So that green is coming right through now. We're gonna have to actually fill this up a little more, but I might, let's see, oh yeah, that really, okay, we'll get some green in there, and then we're probably gonna chase the green with some yellow. All right, so after that purge, it's gonna have to come up to temperature for another few moments. Yeah, we'll see what that does. I'll just see what that does now. So it only came down about 5 degrees on that purge because I let it sit so long. And yeah, let's see how this does just cooling as is. And we'll set up to shoot another part. Hopefully there's still enough good material left in the barrel that we can shoot one directly without having to wait another 5-10 minutes. Here goes. I mean, that looked good to me. Definitely had a lot of pressure. Yep, we got a good part. Can we get focus on that? And some flash too. It's interesting. I think I had the pressure too high there. Actually, so that flash on the edge, the material that squeezed out between the two halves of the mold, we call that flash, and I think that I had my pressure higher than needed, and it pushed the two sides of the mold apart, and that's why we're seeing that flash there. Okay. sure our hopper is staying full. That little jump there, ooh. Oh yeah, we're definitely we're definitely at a higher pressure than we need. So we're getting good parts. They're just flashing quite a lot. Let's see if we can see that on there. So on this, for what we're doing right now, that's due to the pressure that we've got in there. Ooh, and you don't want to touch the nozzle of this thing. It is hot. Okay. Here goes. All right, now we got the pressure down at about 75. I think it could actually go a touch higher. So with this clamp, I know that the tool is packed out all the way full because I can see the two sides of the mold start to separate just slightly. You know, hopefully not enough where we're getting flashing, but I can see it, the parting line just start to spread a little bit. And when I'm seeing that, I know that we're getting good contact. I am going to add a little more of this yellow before we move to red, just to make sure that we got a good boundary between the green and the red. Okay. It'll be cool when we start to see the mixing of the yellow and the green, which I think I can see just, maybe that's all in my head. I thought I could see just the slightest amount of it, but so on my next live stream, things to improve are make sure that all of my equipment is running properly before I start the stream. Figure out what VOI means. I have actually no idea if my volume's even working now. Anytime I'm going to be doing a disassembly or assembly or building of a big thing, actually use the overhead camera on the white table for that. And I have no idea what this looks like in YouTube's feed because I do not have a thumbnail set. I don't know if it's just a black image or if it's just a random shot from the stream or what YouTube defaults to. So there's a bunch of stuff for me to figure out and improve for next time. Ooh, I'm seeing just the slightest tinge of yellow. Now, I'm pretty sure that I'm actually seeing the yellow. It's interesting that we've shot so many parts since the yellow has completely disappeared from view in the hopper. And focus, there we go. That's looking nice. But I think I can see just the slightest tinge of yellow up in the gate remnant there. And yeah, so I haven't seen the green in the hopper for many parts, and we're only just starting to see yellow possibly coming through, and then the red is fully down into the barrel now as well. So pretty soon we should start seeing some interesting mixing. And it might be that the green and the yellow mix so nicely that I'm not gonna really notice it. I guess we'll find out as we go. And I've probably gotta finish before we actually get to the red shooting out. How long is it gonna be until we see these colors mix? There we go. So now we're clearly starting to mix with yellow. It's just, it's interesting that it's only in that one spot. We can see a little bit in the gate as well. Oh yeah. Well, I guess I'll just keep talking to figure out whether or not we are getting some volume here. And actually, let's let that heat up for a second while I check on the stream in the other room, make sure everything is still functioning. Yeah, it is. Cool. That's good. VOIFYI. Oren Jackie. Oh, I just recorded that. So, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what this VOI means, whether that means volume or not. But that's the comment I got from Jackie Oren. So hopefully we can run enough of these, we can start to see the red come through, and then I'll shut it down for the day. So some other upcoming projects is automating this machine. This vise that I'm using to clamp the tool shut, is something that can be automated, as is the manual valve on the side can be replaced with a solenoid. Actually, I've got one right here. So that solenoid can be wired up to a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, etc., and as well as the clamp here. And then we can just have it open up, drop the parts out with ejector pins, close back up, activate the RAM, and just keep running for as many parts as we have material for. So we'll also need a sensor on the hopper here to make sure that the hopper is full. And yeah, that is there's another project that is in the works for this. There's several. I've got a few products that I want to run with this machine that I want to automate parts production with, and one of them is for our sear wheels, which if you don't know what sear wheels are, it would take too long to explain right now the details of that project. But basically, these little logos that I'm molding right now are just dialing in practice, dialing in the machine, dialing in our recycling process before going to production material. So that little jumping up and down that it does is when I get too little material in the barrel, like it is right now, and the material actually kind of melts and gums up around the plunger that comes down through. And then that keeps us from that prematurely drives the hopper and barrel assembly down until it overcomes whatever friction there is from the melted material on the plunger, and then it jumps back up again because there's springs that help it jump back up until it catches again, and it comes down, and then finally, once there's actual pressure and it's squeezing the material down, then it'll stay down. So that's why we're seeing that jumping right now. There it goes. So I'm essentially purging the barrel right now, one part at a time. And so we're starting to get a buildup of material on the plunger. There we go. Now the red is starting to come through a little bit. So the next few parts should start to look pretty neat with, oh, do we have video? There we go. Yeah, so the next few parts should start to look pretty neat with the mix. So we can see the red right there. And once I start to see that mix happening, I think I'll be happy and ready to call it a day. Another thing I want to do for the stream is have a device that I can carry around with me that I can see the comments come in as I'm walking around the shop, in case anybody can let me know if I'm doing something wrong, or if somebody has questions about some of this stuff here. Yeah, it would be cool to see. I think maybe one thing to do is I could go leave a comment right in the stream, even though I'm about to end the stream, asking people to let me know if the volume is actually coming through okay, or whether it's crap. I'm gonna keep going until this is pretty much solid red coming through. Which I don't know if it's going to happen because we're seeing all three colors right now. I don't think I had enough yellow in the hopper because we've only got 6 to 8 parts with the yellow in it. But we almost got solid red coming through now. I can still see the green in there though. So I should have chased with more yellow. So now we're almost all red. Look at how much green is still sitting in there. Look at that. Oh yeah, we're definitely gunking up the piston now. Okay, I think one more and we're gonna call it quits. This will be the last part for the day. And here goes. Let's see, hopefully it's a good one. Is it gonna be fantastic? What could be inside? Oh my God. Yeah, I like that. We got the black coming through. That's a nice mix. Crap, I'm gonna shoot one more while it's still warm, because that looks super cool. It looks like what's his name? Darth Maul. Okay, last one for real. Let's see what's inside. What color is it gonna be? This is like one of those ASMR videos where they like crack the eggshell open to see what color putty is inside. Red or black? Ooh, we've even got yellow in this one. Come on, focus. There we go. That looks super cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna just get a shot of finishing off some of these pieces. Can we get the right angle on this? There we go. All right, so you may wonder, what do we do about this chunk that's sitting there? Well, we just snip it off. So that's like the gate remnant or whatever you might want to call it. And I've designed the part so that we can just use the edge to cleanly cut that off. And then we got these interesting little tokens, which I have no idea what I'm going to do with other than grind them up again and actually turn them into something useful. But they're great for dialing in, and they look cool. They're great for dialing in the process here, and I like the way that they look. And I feel like I could do like business cards or something. I feel like I can make something like this that serves the purpose of a business card, since I haven't carried business cards in years. But we're gonna clean up some of these and then just get the money shot, which maybe I'll make a thumbnail out of it. Let's get some of these clear ones too. I'm just in love with some of these color blends that have come through on these. Can't stop, won't stop. Okay, gotta stop. Last one. Yeah, let's take these into the lab and get our final shot. All right, so there it is. There's our final shot with these guys. What's your favorite? Clear? Not clear? This one is one that we did some in-mold decoration. We used like a metallic gold powder and purple spray paint to come up with like a weathered metallic type finish, and it worked pretty good. And the material is HDPE, which does not bond well with things, but somehow I think that the texture of the metallic powder is embedded into the surface of the HDPE, so it actually seems to have held on pretty well. Some of the other tests we did with just paint would just rub off immediately. So I gotta decide which of these I'm gonna take home to geek out at, staring at. And yeah, some of them are pretty cool. What to do with this technology? I mean, I've got a list of stuff that I think would sell. But yeah, these are cool. Maybe these could be like subscriber tokens, like a Patreon reward. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna save a bunch of these to send to patrons when I get around to setting up Patreon. So cool. That'll be a thing. There we go. $5 a month level. When you sign up for a $5 a month, you're gonna get your little skill hoarder token. That is what we're gonna do with these. All right, so I think I'm about done for today. I'm burnt out, and I got to get home to the family. So what did we do? Let me look through my list. We hacked a paper shredder into a plastic shredder. Basically, all we did was we cut off the shroud that keeps you from sticking your hands into the paper shredder. So we just really just made a maiming shredder, a paper shredder that can cut your fingers off. So next thing to do is to make it a little bit safer. And I'm like super thrilled that all it took to get this thing to shred plastic into, on the first time, usable material for injection molding was to just cut the shroud away from the infeed. So definitely excited about that, but we need to improve it. We need to make it a little bit easier to feed plastic in without getting your hands so close, and make it easy to refeed stuff through, because thin material does not pelletize as nicely as thick material does. And because if OSHA ever comes around, and we've still got this thing in use for some reason, it'll look a little bit less deadly. So yeah, next live stream we'll be doing that. Some other live streams that are going to be coming up is reprogramming our robot oven. The Raspberry Pi that was running on got fried in a power surge here, so now we've got battery backups around the shop, and I'm going through and replacing some stuff that got fried in a power surge here. And another one that's coming up is we got to build some materials racks. Eventually, we're going to be automating the injection molding machine, and there's going to be just a lot of stuff like that. And my goal for sharing all this stuff is to educate and inspire people to learn new skills and build cool stuff with those skills. And with that said, I hope that this was on some level a successful stream. And thanks for all of you that tuned in to watch for a little bit. Adios. Adios. I don't know if I don't. Is it cool to just say adios if you're not of any type of Spanish heritage? I don't know. See you later.